going to issue a special proclamation tomorrow night in honor of 9/11. And I just wanted to give you a few bits of information about that. I'm not going to go into any of the other city business at this time. First, I wanted to I'm just going to recite one portion of the proclamation that we're going to do. On September 11th, 2020, and on the days leading up to this day, citizens of the city of Canyon Lake are asked to remember the lives that were lost, honor the heroic actions taken by our first responders, and thank the members of our military for their continued service and sacrifice. I wanted to give a special thanks to Eric, your general manager, for allowing us we're going to have searchlights, 2 of them, on 9/11, located at the lodge, shining up, well, as high as they go, which are, the huge searchlights. And this is going to be done on 9/11 at 9:11 p.m. And we're encouraging everybody to put blue lights up wherever they can on their homes. And it isn't necessary just for the one day. I've had several people ask me whether or not they can put them up prior to 9/11. Yes, they certainly can. And they can put them up and leave them up. I've had mine up for a couple of years. Mine's just only one small light, but a lot of people are buying lights to shine up on their trees and what have you. So if you want further information, you can go to the Canyon Lake 9/11 Face Group, and there's going to be more information this week in the Friday flyer. And also, there's not going to be any social gatherings. There's not going to be any big presentation. It's just a remembrance. And as I say, we'll be talking about it again tomorrow night at the city council meeting. But we just want everybody to participate. The council chambers and the city offices, we're changing all of our lights to blue for the day before and forever, however long people will get used to the blue lights. So I just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity to speak, and I look forward to seeing the rest of your meeting. Good luck, and once again, thank you, and hopefully some people will listen to the city council meeting tomorrow night. Thank you, President Poland.
Hey, thank you very much, Jordan. Appreciate what you're doing and what the city is doing to honor our country and our folks on 9/11. Darcy, I see you. Do you have some comments for us?
Yes, thank you, President Poland. For some of you that follow along on Facebook, you may have seen some pictures posted of a resident here in Canyon Lake that took his horse in to the North Ski area. And I wanted to address that specifically because I saw a lot of comments about, oh, I can't wait to take my horse in, and what about our dogs? And I just wanted to refresh everybody's memory that in the early 2000s, the state of California, the legislature deemed that any drinking water reservoir had no body contact. So Elsinore Valley Municipal Water District went to bat for Canyon Lake and got an exemption in that piece of legislation that allows us to enjoy our lake with body contact, swimming, boating, paddleboarding, all of those things. That is contingent on us following the California Health and Safety Code, which has 2 codes specifically that make sure that horse, livestock, swine, sheep, any kind, pen, corralled, domestic or wild, are not allowed to either get in the water or provide an area where they could defecate and cause runoff, and that defecation would go into the water. So I'm really encouraging people, as much as you would like to put your animals in and they would like to go in, it risks us being able to keep our permit that allows body contact. So it's not just a please don't do it. It really is a don't do it. It is a state public health and safety code violation. And I know we all want to do the right thing, so I think we can leave it at that. And if you have a question of what can and cannot go in the lake, email me, call me, message me on Facebook. I'm happy to chat with you. I just wanted to make sure that people understood that may not be a POA rule, but it is actually a state public health and safety rule. And it is also referred to in the Federal Safe Drinking Water Act. So If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But I just wanted to make sure we were aware that we didn't want to jeopardize our permit. And that's all I really have. Except soon it'll be
Okay.
fall and turn your sprinklers timers off, but we're not there yet.
Okay, Darcy, thank you very much.
Church light.
Do you have any questions for?
Not just say, please don't do it. It really is a.
Okay, I need to remind you that we'd like to have you, if you'd like to speak, to either click on your button that says raise your hand, or if you want to send us a email at the board at canyonlakepoa.com, or write in the chat box for the Zoom, we can recognize you at the appropriate time. Okay, thank you, Darcy. If you have questions for Darcy, please contact her. Okay, let's moving along. Do we have any other public officials that would like to speak? Okay, next on our agenda is a presentation about the Sierra Park North project, phase 1. It's pump track project status. Steve Snyder is going to give us this. This project has been on the books for a long time, and we've been continuously working on it, even though it seems like maybe we haven't been paying attention to it. So Steve, please go ahead.
Good evening. Just wanted to give a quick update on our Sierra Park North pump track project. As you see, we have a couple drawings here that presenting tonight. I just picked and choose a couple of the drawings that kind of give an overview of the park and the design that we're presenting. As you can see, the pump track, if you can make it out, is in the middle. It's kind of the masterpiece, if you will, for the entire park. The park's been designed around this. Also added to it is restroom buildings, playgrounds, some exercise equipment, walking paths. Because of the location and the terrain, the design is pretty extensive. We plan on presenting this to the board to do as a phased project, 3 phases. Right now, we did submit to the city for our grading permit and everything to make sure that our design will fly with the powers to be. In the first phase that we will be presenting was for demolition and earthwork, along with retaining wall work, stormwater, some stormwater chambers to help with the runoff, because this is right above a blue water stream that in inheritance goes into our lake. Our utilities, wet and dry utilities, erosion control, of course, the bicycle pump track, and some temporary drive access and parking to access the area so the residents can use the pump track and its main amenity while we go through the phases of construction. And that's, Director Poland, that's pretty much all I have for our pump track update.
I want to see if you could just comment on what would be included in phase 2 and phase 3.
So phase 2, we have the pavement for the drive-in and the parking area, our ADA ramp and stairways and walkways, the finish off electrical for the security lighting, the pump track shade structure that goes at the end of the pump track for taking breaks, or for people that are not participating but want to watch, mainly parents and friends. Also a picnic area shelter, and a access road and walkway from Giant Fir that goes through the park. And when I say access road, it's a utility access road, meaning for the Canyon Lake POA or any other official vehicles. EVMWD needs to access this area. They have a couple of easements coming through this area and whatnot. Phase 3 includes fencing and gates, a monument sign that you see at you see at all our parks, playground equipment with shade, the permanent restroom building, finish off landscaping and irrigation, tables and benches, and our exercise equipment.
Okay, well, thank you very much. You will recall that when we first started talking about having a pump track, there were lots of places that we thought we could put it. We believed that taking this particular area that had been undeveloped was the best thing to do, and creating Sierra Park North, which was a multi-use park, the pump track being the centerpiece of it. The first phase is to get the pump track in place and get it working so that our kids can start using it. And then the subsequent phases are to finish out the park. Okay, well, thank you very much, Steve. We look forward to additional status reports. Do you have any idea how long you think the city permit process might take?
I've actually, yesterday I asked for a status update on that, and I have not.
Okay. Well, George, maybe you can help us out there a little bit. We'd like to be able to move this project along. It means a lot to our community. Okay, I'd like to move on to our consent agenda. Are there any items on the consent agenda that the directors would like to pull?
Yes, Chris, I'd like to pull item A.
Okay, Joe? Any others? Okay, I will entertain a motion for approval of the consent agenda items B through K. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Can I have a second? Okay, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, let's take up item 5A. Joe?
Yeah, this is the second one I've seen like this, and I just wanted to get some clarification. I understand this is a new homeowner that inherited the air conditioner in the 5-foot setback, and I'm wondering if it got caught on home inspection or if it didn't, and wondering why. Just wondering why the previous owner wasn't responsible for this.
Okay, I can
Cheryl,
answer
are
that.
you-
Yes, I'm
Thank
here.
you. Thank you, Cheryl. Go ahead.
Okay, so yes, it was not caught on, it was caught on the escrow inspection. And what had happened is that when we did the investigation, we found that it had been moved at some point without our approval. And so now we are trying to get it on the consent agenda for the life of the improvement until they have to replace it again, just so that the new owners don't have to replace it at this time.
But it was not caught on the initial home inspection, or
The initial home inspection had it in the correct place. Usually what happens is people they'll replace their HVAC and not want to see it in their backyard, so they put it in their side setbacks. And I couldn't tell you when it exactly happened. I just know that it did happen. We just know when the house was approved. It was approved with the HVAC in the rear yard.
okay. All right, thank you, Cheryl.
Sure.
Cheryl, can I
Cheryl,
ask,
could you just, go ahead, Jean.
I just want to make sure that it is noted in the file that if this homeowner needs to replace this HVAC.
Uh-oh, I think she's muted. Jeannie, you're muted. I didn't hear everything.
Still muted.
Okay, I don't know what's going on. I just want to make sure that there is a note in the file that if the homeowner needs to replace the unit, that they will have to replace it within, the approved area, not in the same place.
Yes, and if you notice on the resolution, it says that it's to approve the HVAC in the location with a recorded variance for the life of the improvement. And so that's actually documented in the recorded variance so that when they come in to do a new HVAC, it tells them they have to remove it and put it in the right position.
Okay, I just want to make sure on the term improvement that it's actually meaning the HVAC unit itself, not
Yes.
some kind of improvement. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Cheryl? Can I have a motion related to consent agenda item 5A?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Second? Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, now we'll move on to the board action items. The first is the approval of a committee appointment to the senior work group. Carrie, are you on?
Actually, Carrie's not present tonight, so I told her I'd present for her.
Okay.
So the senior work group has a couple of vacancies, and so there's 2 items, I believe, on the agenda tonight for requests to recommend appointment of these 2 members. So this first one is Lisa Monson has been recommended by the senior work group to be appointed as a new member. They voted for her approval August 14th to 19th through phone calls and emails since they can't meet. So they've made a recommendation to appoint Lisa Monson, excuse me, as a member to the senior work group effective today.
Can I have a motion to approve
Make a motion to approve.
Lisa Munson? Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
I have a question.
Opposed?
I have a
Okay,
question.
go ahead.
Doesn't she have to sign a confidentiality agreement, or does this committee not require them?
It's a work group. I don't
Okay.
believe we've required the work groups to sign them. I can
Okay.
double check, ma'am. We could put that as a condition if
I was
required.
just wondering why it wasn't there.
Yes, ma'am.
Doesn't it say under the board action item contingent upon execution of a confidentiality agreement effective immediately?
No, it does not.
It's
Why does mine say that?
it's in the proposed motion on the agenda, but not in the action item.
Right.
We can confirm that.
Okay, all right, thank you. I'm looking at the action item. I mean, I'm looking at the action item on the agenda. All right, any other discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, Lynn, for the next one.
Okay, so the second member, Grace Ward, has been recommended by the senior work group also. It looks like on July 5th, the work group had phone calls with the committee to try to host a meeting to recommend appointment of Grace Ward as a member to the senior work group, also effective today. And the motion would be the same as on the agenda, sir.
Can I have a motion to approve this appointment?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we're going to move on to 6.3, alternate member appointment to the Finance Committee. Susan, I think I saw you online. Can't hear you, Susan. Are you muted?
Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you.
All right. The finance committee is in need of one alternate member. The finance committee is recommending Candace Matthews as an alternate.
I make a
We
motion.
are recommending the board accept the applicant to the finance committee effective immediately.
Okay. I'll accept the motion.
I make a motion subject to the signing of a confidentiality agreement.
Okay. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we're moving on to item 6.4. This is a 28-day reading for rule revision PC 3.2, first floor elevation for lakefront lots. Cheryl, would you introduce this for us?
Yes, the ACC committee and staff is recommending a 28-day reading for PC 3.2, first floor elevation for lakefront lots. What we're asking to do is to remove the verbiage, the 100-year flood level per FEMA, because in our CCNRs, it does not state that at all. In fact, in section 7, it states that it shall govern for first floor elevation on lakefronts and does not mention per FEMA. I can only assume at that point in time, the reason why it was put in there before is because on our tract maps, it basically does state 1397.5 being the floodplain. But I believe what the CCNR's intent was to not have any floors below the 1397, regardless of the floodplain or not. So staff is recommending that the Board of Directors approve a 28-day reading for PC 3.2 for first floor elevation for lakefront homes or lakefront lots as attached.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve this 28-day reading?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Okay, discussion. You may recall that a few months ago, we had a discussion about this and discovered that the 1397.5 elevation was no longer the 100-year flood level for FEMA. And went back and researched with our CCNRs and realized that that was designated in the CCNRs. So we need to get this taken care of. Any other comments or questions? Any questions from the members? Any? Okay, hearing none, call for the question. All those in favor of 28-day reading for Rule Revision 3.2, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, let's move on to 6.5, the 28-day reading for Rule Revision PC 8.1. Cheryl?
Yes, the ACC committee is requesting that the Board of Directors approve the additional information to PC 1.1 in order to explain how and why the ACC committee makes decisions. Decisions are made due to the PC and rules and regulations, including the CCNRs for aesthetic appeal to each neighborhood. Not all informative information in CCRs were included in the planning compliance section for explanation purposes. So if you look at PC 1.1 under architectural control in red, this is the additional information the committee is recommending. The committee makes decisions based on the CCNRs, rules, and the aesthetic for the purpose of enhancing and protecting the value, desirability, and attractiveness of the property described in the tract and in the subdivision as a whole. The purpose of this was, we get quite a few questions whenever the committee makes decisions. What gives them the authority? Well, basically, it's already stated in the CCNRs that the committee has the authorities. So they kind of wanted to make that explanation and said that just wanted to include that information in PC 1.1. So it is recommended that the Board of Directors approve the 28-day reading for PC 1.1 for Architectural Control Committee as attached.
Cheryl, this is John. They don't have PC 1.1 up on the screen. They got 8.1.
I wanted to say, I may have misspoke, but I meant action item 6.5 PC 8.1. But since Cheryl has gone through the whole, no, let's go ahead. Just flip down a couple of pages. Starting on page 123, this is action agenda item 6.6. And Cheryl has explained all of this. There may have been a little bit of confusion as you were trying to find it. Let me just say, can I have a motion to approve a motion to approve the 28-day reading for this change to PC 1.1?
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay, is there any questions, or would any of you like to have clarification because of the confusion here?
Chris, this is John.
Sure, go ahead.
This actually is a CCNR on each track map, or each track CCNRs listing. So what we did was we incorporated it into here because we thought it provided some value to having it in a definition there under Architectural Control Committee.
I think that's a real good idea, John. The CCNRs are not as available to the members as the rules, and so it's good to have this in this place.
And you'll notice the part that is in italics. That is actually the CCNR. We added, it was written a little bit differently in the CCNRs in the actual CCNRs for the tracks, but we put a little front on it that the committee makes the decision based on what the CCNR stated.
Okay.
So I hope that's
And when they-
understandable.
Okay, and then I just wanted to clarify, when it refers to the subdivision as a whole, that's referring to the entire community, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Any other comments from members? Any other discussion from the board? Okay. I believe I have a motion in a second, correct? Is that right, Harmony?
I don't have that.
Okay, could I have a motion to approve the 28-day reading for PC 1.1?
So moved.
I'll move. I'll move.
Thank you, Joe. Second?
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second. We've had discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Okay, let's move back to board action item 6.5, PC, a 28-day read on PC 8.1. That's on page 120 of the board book. Go ahead, Cheryl.
Okay, so the ACC committee has found that a clear definition of PC 8.1 is required where trees shall be planted in the front yard. The courtyard area is not considered an area in which trees can be planted in the front and considered a part of the 2 trees required. The update to this rule includes definition of the area in which trees can be planted, which includes a portion of the community setback starting 6 feet back from the curb, in addition to the 20-foot front yard setback. I have put a diagram in there, so this kind of helps to understand what they were asking for. It'll be the next page right there. So if you see where it says courtyard, a lot of the times that area in there there's some trees. That area is not considered a part of the front yard. And the reason why it's not considered a part of the front yard is because it can actually become enclosed and become inhabitable space. So the areas in which can be planted for the 2 trees is 6 feet from the curb, which a portion of that is in the community setback, and then the entire front yard setback. So the ACC committee is recommending that the board of directors approve the 28-day reading for a rule revision to PC 8.1 for improved lots as attached.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve the 28-day reading rule revision for PC 8.1?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, discussion, comments from the directors. Do we have any comments from the members?
No.
Well, I'd just like to say, you know how much I love trees, and I'm really pleased to see that this is a step in a direction that assures us that trees that are planted under our regulations in the front yards can continue to grow and be maintained and not taken out because a house wants to be expanded. So thank you very much. We've improved the definition of trees, and I really am very encouraged to see this. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the 28-day rule for rule revision to PC 8.1 say aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carried. Okay, now we're ready to move on to item 6.7, which is the campground restroom upgrade proposed concept and scopes. And before Director Odell explains about this, this is part of the program that we have now working with our committees to develop at the committee and board level concept and scope, and to present that and then have that move forward into the design state. So Jeannie, would you like to go ahead and present this?
Sure. Thank you, President Poland. In May 2018, extensive upgrades to the campground were completed. The upgrades included, but were not limited to utility upgrades, road reconfiguration and repairs, reconfiguration and replacement of a lift station and pump, installation of internet and Wi-Fi, and installation of new and reconfigured docks. The upgrades were considered phase one of several phases planned to be completed. The restroom building currently servicing the campground is approximately 40 years old and has not had any substantial work completed within that time frame. The restroom building is not currently ADA accessible. The building requires a new roof as well as numerous upgrades to the exterior, such as windows, doors, and light fixtures. The Facilities Committee was tasked to develop a concept scope of work for the proposed upgrades, and we've included some drawings and a scope of work document. The estimated cost is a rough order of magnitude cost of between $180,000 and $200,000. The fund source would be our reserve, repair, and replacement. So it's requested that the Board of Directors authorize the project to proceed to the next milestone, which is design development. It is requested that the Board of Directors authorize staff to engage the services of the appropriate consultant to develop these design development documents. It is further requested that the design development documents be available for review and commenting by the January 2021 Facilities Planning Committee, with presentation to the board at the February 2021 Board of Directors meeting. And if you scroll through, you see a couple of the concepts that were put together. This is the proposed scope of work that was put together by the committee. And this is something that could be issued to a consultant in order to get them to obtain a fee proposal from them for this work. It was drafted with that in mind. Then there's a drawing that was a concept drawing that was provided by staff from somebody that they had dealt with a couple years ago. And then this is the concept drawing that was prepared by FPC in August of 2020. So we just wanted to give a couple of different concepts and ideas to the board as well.
Maybe you could reduce the size of that just a bit so we could see the whole thing. Thank you. That's the one that staff had developed on page 31. Is that correct, Jeannie?
This is the one that FPC developed on page 30.
Okay, FPC.
Correct.
Okay.
And the next one that staff had developed some time ago.
Okay. So maybe you could scroll back to the FPC I assume the FPC recommendation is what carries with the scope of work?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, do we have any comments from the members?
Not that I can see, sir.
Okay, comments from the directors.
Just that it's about time. Looks like it's more than 40 years old, but it's about time to do this.
Okay. And Jeannie, we are on the same footprint, right? So you said we needed a new roof, but we're still using the walls in their interior remodel going on.
The exterior walls, yes, there will be some changes to the interior walls.
Okay. All right. Well, I'd like to thank FPC for working this through and developing the concepts in a timely manner to hit the schedule that we have. I'm glad to see this is done, and I know that staff will be able to take and move this forward, do the best they can to retain consultants and get this underway. Okay, I have a motion, a second. I believe I have a motion, a second. I'm losing track. No, I don't. Do I have a motion?
No.
To approve do I have a motion to approve the recommendation to authorize the project to proceed to the next milestone, design development, based on this concept scope document?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Our next item is 6.8. This is a follow-up on the revision of the policy for purchasing and contracting authority. We thought we had this all taken care of, and the first time we went to apply it, realized that we had made an omission. Went over this last time and introduced a 28-day rule. You want to scroll down to the page that has the red on it. It's page 134. This is the purchase and the policy for purchasing and contract authority that we now have. It clearly states the board's desire of how our purchasing and contracting is to be done. It gives substantial latitude to the general manager and the staff to carry out the purchasing that's necessary. It defines various levels of purchasing. It defines various types of projects. The one problem that we had is within the scope of all of this, we failed to define new vehicles and other equipment needed to support operations. And that really is a capital improvement. We had a bit of a discussion about that last meeting, whether that was a capital improvement or it was a repair and replacement or it was something else, and agreed that it was a capital improvement. And so we wanted to make this addition to our purchasing and contracting authority. So we set out the 28-day reading. So have we received any comments on the 28-day reading?
No, sir.
Sorry.
Any comments from the members?
No.
Okay. Any comments from the directors? Can I have a motion to approve the revision to policy for purchasing and contracting authority?
So moved.
Second.
Have a second? Thank you. Have a
Second.
motion and a second to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Thank you very much. Okay, now we're going to move on to item 6.9. This is another report. It's set as a discussion item. We have added these things to our agenda to provide an opportunity to let the community know what we're talking about, what we're thinking about before we get to actually doing review plans. The Facility Planning Committee was tasked to come up with a proposed concept for motorcycle secured parking. And so this is a discussion. It's open for discussion with the members. So Jeannie, would you like to present this?
Sure, thank you, sir. Background, the need for additional motorcycle parking, including the requirement for secured parking, has been discussed for numerous years with no resolution. The Facilities Planning Committee was tasked with developing a concept scope of work for the proposed project. And we've attached a couple of concept drawings that we'll get to. The fiscal impact at this point in time is to be determined, as well as the fund sources to be determined. So the recommendation of this discussion item is that the Board of Directors return the concept recommendations to the Facilities Planning Committee for further discussion with representative community members who currently use the motorcycle storage areas. The intent with that is to engage some of our community in these discussions to see what they would like to have included. It is further recommended that the Facilities Planning Committee review the existing motorcycle storage area at the North Gate and recommend modifications to this area. We did not include that in our original scope, and I would like to suggest that it be included. And we'd like to have these updated and revised concepts back to the board for our November 2020 meeting. So this is just some suggestions for the senior center motorcycle parking. Takes the existing parking and kind of enlarges it and covers parts of it. So once again, it's just a concept, and we want to involve some of our users in further discussion. This would be the Eastport area, and this would be in addition to the existing motorcycle parking. And Eric has very nicely included some pictures that we'll get to of all these areas. So once again, this is just some concepts for further discussion with our users. This is part of the Eastport existing parking, as well as the next picture is Eastport. Just kind of shows you what we're dealing with. So that's the Bluebird Hall area. And the very last one is the North Gate area. So as you can see, the North Gate is needs some help over there too. So just once again, our recommendation is that we return this to the committee for further development, with bringing back hopefully a board action item in November.
Okay, well, we have an opportunity for comments from the members. Do we have any comments from the members?
I see no hands raised in our electronic room.
Nope.
I have received a couple of comments myself. Once this was shown, it was on the agenda. And some is the need for the cameras, which has been noted on the concept already, and then some need for electrical for some charging areas. So that's something that needs to be brought to FPC.
How do you plan to engage with representatives of the community members?
We have a subcommittee that's been developed that includes Daryl Ballou, who has contacts in the motorcycle community. So he's going to be reaching out and then branching from there.
Okay,
Oh, I'm
any
sorry.
discussion?
I have one member, if that's okay, President Poland.
This is John talking. I have a familiarity with the Eastport, and I can tell you this is badly needed down there. The motorcycles, unfortunately, there's just too many of them on the weekend, and they're actually interfering with the mailboxes. So I'm glad to see that something's being done down there. Thank you.
Jeannie, how are you developing the number of stalls that you need? Is that something that's being surveyed, or is that part of the conversation you're going to have?
That's part of the conversation to see what the need is, but it's also been somewhat limited on the available land to develop this into. Like the Eastport area, the recommendation we're making is to take over some land that is not currently developed, it's landscaped, and to enclose that area. So that would, it's basically being driven by the space available to do this.
So do you expect to be able to accommodate all the motorcycles that need to be accommodated?
I can't answer that question until we get into a little bit further into the discussion.
Because I would certainly like to see what needs to be done in order to do that, whether we have to give up parking places or whatever it is, or landscaping, so that we can see what the options are to try to fully accommodate our motorcycle community.
Okay, we'll add that for them to take a look at existing, so the existing motorcycle parking would not go away. What we're proposing would be in addition to it. So there would be a pickup of some net spaces, but we can also see if that's enough, and if not, look further.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion from our comments from board members? Can I have a motion to accept the recommendations of the Facility Planning Committee? To take this back? So moved. Do I have a second?
There's no motion, if I may. It's a discussion item, right?
Discussion.
It's a discussion item. I guess, Harmony, we're not supposed to take action on discussion items. Is that right?
It wasn't listed as for a motion, no.
Okay. All right. Then we'll consider your recommendations as something as a road path forward. Okay, Jeannie?
Thank you.
Okay, the next discussion item is related to member concerns on traffic and parking. Jeannie?
I apologize. This was not included in the packet that was distributed, and it is rather lengthy. So I hope you all had a chance to read it before I get into this. So that was my mistake
on the website as well.
Okay, that was my mistake. Just so that you know, I sent an email without the attachment. So to begin.
Jeannie, you did hear that we were able to get it on the website. So it is on the website version. Okay,
Perfect.
good. Thank you.
Yeah, Harmony took care of me, so thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, so in response to a letter received by a board member, which has been attached, the committee was asked to review parking related concerns on San Joaquin West. The committee conducted an assessment and found that approximately 30 cars per day park on the street. One side of the street is red curb to prevent parking. The red curb was installed several years ago to address access issues due to the narrowness of the street. The inside curves have the proper visibility, and the street is 26 feet wide, which is too narrow to stripe a center line without eliminating street parking in its entirety. The second issue that was reviewed was a member concern submitted to our general manager. The committee was asked to review a visibility issue at Canyon Lake Drive South and Village Way. This issue was originally reviewed by Wildan Engineering, and it was addressed in the speed and sight distance traffic study dated March 2020. The Facilities Planning Committee reviewed Wildan's proposed action, and it understood that it would be a permanent solution. So as approved by the board at the August meeting, the long-term solution will be completed when the next phase of the road repair and replacement project is implemented. However, a possible temporary solution was reviewed. In response to a member comment, the committee was asked to review the feasibility of installing a roundabout at the intersection of Canyon Lake Drive South and Continental. The committee reviewed the request and a determination was made that it was not feasible for the following reasons. Do you guys want me to read all the reasons, or?
Sure, go ahead.
You're not tired of my voice yet? So insufficient
Nope.
street width to properly construct with turning radius, size to handle all vehicles, including RVs, towing trailers, large utility trucks, fire trucks, etc. So it's not wide enough for that. Would possibly require acquiring a right-of-way or property easement from numerous members due to lack of sufficient street width. Would require the elimination of parking in front of numerous residences. It gives priority to vehicles already within the circle, which would lead to backing up northbound traffic past the crosswalk and into the gate during peak entry periods. It would create a traffic backup southbound on Canyon Lake Drive South during mass exiting periods, which could cause by special events blocking, which would then block residential driveways, and would require all pedestrians, bicycles, and golf carts to enter the roundabout, which would cause an issue with pedestrians and bicycles due to the lack of off-street sidewalk. The fourth item was in response to several member concerns submitted to the Director of Operations. The committee was asked to review parking and access issues at Sierra Park West. The installation of new parking spaces on the east side of the parking lot at Sierra Park West created access issues for several members whose backyards are adjacent to the parking lot. There are currently 4 gates which open into the parking area. These gates are used by members for access to their property for deliveries and other functions. The front of their property is on Vacation Drive, so it's very difficult to access for deliveries. And the fence and gates have been in place for many years. Amenity users park their vehicles with trailers parallel to the fence line, blocking gates and parking spaces, which eliminates both access to members' property, as well as the ability of cars and golf carts to park in the designated spaces. That was a long one. In response to Facilities Planning Committee member concerns, the committee reviewed the need for safety measures along the Longhorn Causeway. The committee has been concerned regarding safety measures needed at the causeway for numerous years. They originally proposed the installation of low-level lighting at this location, but the installation of the light fixtures was not agreed upon by previous board of directors. So based on the recommendations that we're going to get to next, there is a possible fiscal impact. I said not to exceed $4,000, but it won't cost that much at all. And it would come out of road reserve. And the reason this is a discussion item rather than an action item is because this dollar amount is well within the staff's authority to spend without requiring board of directors approval. So it is requested that the board of directors review the following recommendations for each location and direct staff to implement or send back to the committee for additional research if it's needed. So the parking related concerns on San Joaquin Drive West, no action is recommended. The visibility issue on Canyon Lake Drive South and Village Way, the committee has come up with a temporary fix, which is one of the drawings attached. They're recommending that diagonal striping be installed near the intersection and moving the stop legend forward so that people can kind of creep out a little bit and see the traffic that's coming both ways on Canyon Lake Drive South. There's a drawing for your reference. And it was our recommendation to have a change order issued to the existing contract for the striping that's being done on Continental Longhorn. But that was done before we knew that work was taking place tomorrow. So we'll leave it to staff to take care of this the best way they know how. The roundabout at Canyon Lake Drive South and Continental Way is no action is recommended. Sierra Park West, the committee recommended eliminating parking spaces along the eastern side of the parking lot, which is shown on an attached drawing. And the committee recommended the application of a red paint stripe on the pavement along the fence line to prohibit vehicles with trailers from parking in this location. And staff, the operations department actually already completed that work on August 20th. And for the Longhorn Causeway, the committee recommends the application of reflective tape to the existing guardrails at the Longhorn Causeway as a simple solution to, excuse me, what the perceived safety concerns there. So we can take you to the sketches. This is the Sierra Park West that was provided by Steve Schneider, Director of Operations. And as I said, that work has actually already been completed. The members were at our committee meeting and we're extremely happy with the solution. Here's the proposed solution for Village Way and Canyon Lake Drive South. It's minimal work. As you can see, it's moving the lead stop bar out further and then putting that little cross hatch right there, right there. Correct. And then the next one was just a copy of the letter that I received so that you all had it. I think all of you got that.
Okay, thank you very much, Jeannie. Any comments from the members?
Not that I see.
Nope.
Okay, any comments from the directors? I'm going to take silence as concurrence with the things that you're recommending, Jeannie.
Perfect.
So that we can go ahead and move forward this. We'll have to think about calling these things recommendations or whether these should be board action items. But for right now, I appreciate all the work that the FPC is doing in addressing these particular member concerns. And since we're not getting any feedback against what you're suggesting with the FPC, we'll move ahead that way. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next item is more of an announcement than a discussion item. We are planning to hold a virtual meeting with the club presidents on September 22nd. It's a by invitation meeting, and the club presidents will be receiving invitations from us and complete an agenda. This is a draft agenda at this point. The purpose of the meeting is to allow the clubs to interact with the board of directors and the general manager in a direct way. We've been looking for the clubs to provide a brief self-introduction, brief description of the clubs and any questions or issues you'd like us to address. No promise that we could address all of that the night of the meeting, but we will, as you can see, we're very intent on addressing the comments and concerns that come to us. We're going to go over the facility use guide update that's being proposed. It includes new calendar scheduling procedures, and they'll have the list of proposed changes there when you receive the agenda, and get some interaction and comments and about those proposed changes. Carry out as much discussion as we can in the time that we have allotted, and then allow member comments at the end. So please put that on your calendars if you're a club president, and look forward to having this opportunity to interact with you about your club and how it interfaces with Canyon Lake, our facility use guide, and the scheduling procedures. Okay, let's move on to the member comments on non-personnel issues. Do we have any member comments?
I don't see any hands raised in our electronic room. John, did you have a comment?
No.
Okay.
And I don't see any comments either.
Well, this may be a first, I don't know.
Maybe.
We still have people on. We still have people online, right?
We
We have 25.
25 people on Zoom. And last time I checked, 20 something on Facebook. Let's not.
Okay, I'm just going to just pause for a minute or two, just in case people are trying to get their hand raised or get a chat recorded, because we do want to hear from you. Okay, well, let's move on.
I have
And,
one hand raised.
okay,
They don't have a name. It's under display name, but whoever has your hand raised.
please introduce yourself and give your track and lot.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
I, for some reason, cannot work my camera, but I wanted to come here today to address the
Excuse me.
active
Could you
concerns.
introduce yourself, please, and give your track and lot?
Yeah, it's Rosette Duarte.
And your tract and lot, please?
I'm on Skylink. I don't have my track and lot in front of me, sorry.
Okay.
I'm on Skylink. You guys know who I am. Anyways, my daughter was almost killed on Skylink Drive 2 weeks ago. I raised this concern as an action for the past year. I've emailed the board. I've counted today over 10 times, and I've never received a response from anyone about the concerns over here on the mobile side of Canyon Lake. And I wanted to see if you have any things that you're going to address or change here on the gates, the call boxes. I heard the motorcycle concerns as well. We have motorcycles that just drive in very easily. There's no way for them to be parked. So there's a lot of noise over here as well. But my daughter was in a severe car accident 2 weeks ago. And, call it a mother's intuition, but I had been raising these concerns for the past year. I was told one concern was not enough when I contacted Corey. And I also was told to move by Eric on the board here in Canyon Lake. And so I just want to make sure that my concern is being heard because, like I said, I have been ignored for several emails. And there is a big safety issue on Skylink Drive and Big T with our gates here by the gym. And I wanted to see if you had any type of action plan for any of those concerns.
Well, Rosette, this is a member comment period, and we really don't enter into discussion on this. I will make a brief answer to you, but there will be no discussion. You raised all these concerns at our security workshop. We heard them. You have been in conversation with the general manager and with Corey, so it's not that no one is communicating with you. We are, but I just wanted to let you know that we are addressing 4 of the key issues that came out of the security workshop, and this is one of them, and you'll be hearing from us in the coming weeks. Do we have any other members that have comments?
No.
Okay, then let's move on to the association reports. General Manager's report, Eric.
As usual, I'd like to direct everybody to our staff reports, which are in your agenda available online. A great deal of information in there. A few things that we're working on this month. We're continuing to replace mailbox slabs throughout the community. We are the new playground equipment that the board approved at Happy Camp. And we had a donation from the campground club. Expect that to start to be installed in 6 to 8 weeks. We're in the final stages of the paving project community-wide, and the final phases, of course, are at the lodge. There's a couple rows of parking that we've held off on doing the final paving on because of it's a staging area for construction for the ADA ramp down to the rental docks. That's a long drawn out process. We have to build a retaining wall, grout the retaining wall, let that concrete cure, backfill it, and then go to the next level. It's going to be a beautiful ramp and stairs with lighting and landscaping when we're done. And we're getting close to the end there. The pool building addition, break room and storage is completed. And that was a very much needed addition over there and wrapping that up. We're also going to be starting an ADA ramp down to Roadrunner Park, which was a requirement of the city to do the permanent restroom at Roadrunner Park. So that project, the restroom there has been kicked around for about 10 years. And when we finally dusted it off and got it ready to go again, the city required that we do an ADA ramp. So we had a little curveball on building the restroom, but we're going to do this ramp so we can proceed with the restroom. Steve Snyder gave an update earlier on the Sierra Park North pump track. In case you missed it, those plans are currently at the city in plan check, and when we get those back, we'll bring those finalized approved plans back to the board and move that project forward. We have a couple new campground hosts at the campground. So if you're a Happy Camp regular or not, stop by and say hello to Sean and Caitlin Gardner. Our last hosts were here for many years, and we hope that these guys will be here for many years as well. On September 6th, we have a boat-in only concert at near Holiday Harbor. We call this concert Rock the Boat. It's on September 6th, Sunday at 7 o'clock. We're going to have Michaela Phillips, America's Got Talent and American Idol finalist, so nationally known artist, and the Kenny Marquez Band at 7 o'clock Sunday. Put your family in your boat and boat over, drop anchor, kayak over, paddle over, swim over. This concert's designed to be, the performers and the speakers will be on shore facing the water, and it's designed to be watched from the water. We'll also be broadcasting the audio on an FM frequency. Once we test and set up a frequency, we'll announce that at the concert, and we'll broadcast it the day of the concert. So you'll have speakers pointed at you, and if you have a stereo in your boat, you'll be able to tune your FM radio to it also. We expect that if the COVID-19 closures continue, that we will more than likely do boat-in movies the same way, which we haven't been able to do movies at the pool or at parks. And so I expect that if our FM transmitter works well, that we'll probably do some movies coming up. If it's not windy, we should also have a large movie screen that people in their boats will be able to see what's happening on stage. And then, as Jordan mentioned, that was very early on in our meeting. Some people may have missed it as they were logging on. Jordan was talking right as our Facebook Live happened. In case you missed it, there's a very ambitious group of people in Canyon Lake that want to make sure that we commemorate 9/11, and that group is planning on turning Canyon Lake blue on September 11th, and the city has asked us to participate, and we're very happy to participate. We're going to help get the searchlight set up and pointed at the sky, 2 blue lights, just like they do in New York. And I'm told 150 blue bulbs are on their way here, and we're going to do our best to light up as many POA amenities blue as we can. And so look forward to that on September 11th. And that's all I have this week.
Okay, thank you very much. I will point you toward within the agenda packet that's on the website, or the board packet, the community patrol report and all the statistics that we have. I encourage you to have a look at those things. It's very instructive on our community and the work that's being done. Appreciate all the work of the staff. Thank you very much, Eric, and to your staff. You're doing an extraordinary job helping this place run during these trying times. And best I can tell, it's running quite well. Thank you.
Thank you. I forgot to share our flyer during my my report. So here's our Rock the Boat concert flyer.
Okay. Okay, so we're ready for board comments. Who'd like to go first?
I don't mind.
Okay, Joe.
Sorry. Bad time to get a phone call. I'm sorry. I serve on 3 of the committees. I'd like to give you an update on those. The Tuesday work group, as you know, they're dark for the summer, but there's a devoted group of guys who come out once a week and they sand divots on the golf course, which is desperately needed. Because even though they're on break, the golfers aren't, and so it's nice that they come out and do that. Green Committee meets on second Thursday of the month at 1 o'clock in the Magnolia Room. If you have any golf course issues or concerns, or just want to see the process, love to have you come down and participate or just view it. currently they're addressing aggressive tires on golf carts, and the damage that they do to the turf. So that's an issue that they're going to be dealing with. Also, the maintenance department is continuing to deal with irrigation problems, and they have at least two maintenance workers on a regular basis doing irrigation repairs. So it's just an ongoing problem. Appeals committee, we've been meeting, or we were meeting once a week. We finally caught up some of the backlog, and now we're meeting twice a month, and probably through the remainder of the year we'll be doing that. And we're getting through the backlog, and they're doing a fine job there. So with that, I can also say, Eric, I always love hearing your report, because it makes me feel good to see all the things that we're getting done. And I think it's great. I mean, I know all the stuff that's happening, but when I hear it listed like the report you give, it's very refreshing to see all that work that gets done every month. I appreciate your hard work and staff's hard work. Thank you. That's my report.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Next.
I can go unless you guys are tired of hearing my voice.
Never.
I remember you said that. Okay, first of all, I would like to issue an apology to all of the members on the north side. As a few of you know, it was always a priority of mine to have a new playground built at Moonstone Beach. And I know it's taken a while, but I have been informed that we are not going to be able to build that playground for numerous reasons. The playground would be too close in proximity to the lake and would require fencing around all of the equipment. It would require retaining walls on 3 sides to bring the grade up to code, an ADA code. 3 very mature trees would have to be removed, and those trees supply shade to almost half the park in the afternoon. The parking lot, because I kept telling them, look at different options, and the parking lot does not contain enough space to build a playground and leave room for a parking lot. The Recreation Committee has unfortunately had to withdraw their recommendation for a playground equipment at Moonstone Beach for those reasons. But they are going to be recommending some table replacements, and some additional benches. I have been assured by our Director of Operations and by our Chair of the Recreation Committee that they're continuing to look at options for a playground on the north side, other than the playground at Happy Camp. So once again, I apologize it's taken us so long to get to this point, but I just wasn't ready to give up yet. The second thing is we are working at FPC on the landscaping for the median, and we posted it in our newsletter, and I have received some comments from members, so I do appreciate those. Those comments are being forwarded to FPC, and we'll be reviewing them at our meeting next week with the intent of coming back in October with some concept ideas for the board to consider. Some of that is we need to obviously have a unifying element between all of our different landscaping up there. We have palm trees and iceberg roses over by the fountains. We have purple fountain grass and bottle brush shrubs in some of the center medians. And then you enter the gates and there's a whole other design, and then you continue further through the gate and there's a whole other landscape. So we're looking for a way to unify, have some unifying elements. We've also looked at a left turn pocket at Bluebird Drive, which if you're heading into the community, you notice that every other street but Bluebird has a left-hand turn lane. So that would require some modifications to one of the islands. And so we're continuing to look at it. I just wanted to let you know that I did receive member comments, so thank you very much. They will be forwarded to the committee to take a look at and see what we can do, and we will be bringing that to the board in October, either as a discussion or action item. I guess we need to kind of work that out. I do want to point out on the operations report, the striping on Continental and Longhorn Drive. is tomorrow, and I think everybody's been pretty well briefed on that. The operations report says it's a golf cart lane. I want to make sure everybody understands it's not just a golf cart lane. It's for pedestrians, bicyclers, etc. It's a buffer zone for the cars and the pedestrians. And FPC, as you know from all the comments I've been making, has obviously been really busy, so I won't bore you more with that. And then the Finance Committee, both the Reserve Subcommittee has been meeting every week since July. So we'll be preparing our recommendations regarding the reserve study. And that is something that we, as the board, are required to do annually, where our reserve study is reviewed. So the board asked a subcommittee to be formed to take a look at that. So they're working hard on that. I would like to welcome our new member to the committee, and it's going to be exciting to see her on September 15th, her first meeting with us. And I think that's it for now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jeannie. Jim, you want to go next?
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say here. The estate committee has not met since about 6 weeks ago. I believe we have a meeting this month. And the senior work group is basically shut down now until probably the first of the year. So that's it. I don't have a lot else to say.
I want to say a couple words about what you're going to be doing with the estate committee over the concerns about the conditions at the mobiles and at the estates.
Yeah, I can comment on what we're looking to put on an agenda item. One that we talked about for several years is to put gates on the roads that go up. I think Sorrel and there's another road there. And then we had some complaints with the getting in and out, or at least primarily getting into the mobile area. And I will bring that up to discuss at the next meeting with the estates committee. So I have some ideas. I don't know if it makes sense or not, but I'll certainly throw them out there.
Okay, thank you very much. Tom?
Oh, just want to share, last month I wasn't at the meeting. I was at the Water Ski National Championships in Louisiana, and proud to say that for the 48th year in a row, there was at least one or more Canyon Lake Ski Club members who achieved national championships. This year, that number was 5 different people. Recognized Brandy Nagel, who lived here as a girl, and her mom still does live here. She lives in Northern California now, but she got her 16th national championship. Dee Johnson, who lived here for many years and lives in San Diego now, he got his 5th national championship. Frank Harrison lived here back when Canyon Lake started. It took him a while. He's now in men's 9, which is 75 years and older, and he achieved his 2nd national championship this year. Brad Hartwell, who has been trying since 1973 and got his first national championship as men's 7 tricks this year. And my daughter, being the capper, she got her 4th medal, or 4th national championship, and got the girls 4 overall. So congratulations to all the skiers, but all the national champions. And running back to the beginning of time with each of the people that we have associated with Canyon Lake, there's now been over 300. It's actually 302 national championship medals that have been achieved by well over 50 years of skiers from Canyon Lake. So really proud of that from our ski club and our members who compete here, and I'm sure that's going to continue in years coming forward. That's all for me.
Okay, thank you, Tom. I'd like to follow up with a couple of things. I'd like to just give you a little report about the North Ski Area Rules Task Force that Tom and I are in the process of putting together. We spoke about rules last month. I said I was going to form a task force. I've written about that a couple of times. I received over 30 volunteers to join the task force. We're looking for a balanced task force that recognizes the people that use the North Ski Area as a unique area, and that's the water skiers, the wakeboarders, and the wake surfers. So we have lots of other folks that use the area for swimming and for fishing and other activities that could be done all over the lake. We're very interested in making sure we can preserve those, but we are looking to set some rules for water skiing, wakeboarding, and wake surfing, just to improve the rules that we have. It's going to take a few more weeks to get that formalized. We're working to develop a set of draft regulations, draft rules that will be considered by the committee, by the task force, I should say, through a balloting process so that we can get to what we believe is a clear consensus of the users of that group. I believe, and the board stands with me on this, that it's best for the communities that use a particular amenity to have a strong say, have the say in how that amenity ought to be used. And that's the direction that we're headed. So I'm very pleased with that. Dredge committee is still silent right now, though Eric and I are working on the application to the Army Corps of Engineers. I hope to see some movement on that in the next month or two. Of course, I'm liaison now to the ACC. ACC is busier than ever. They meet every Thursday. You can read about them in the board package under planning and compliance. John does a great job in leading that group. And then I already mentioned that the security workshop was very successful with a lot of participants, and we came back with a number of ideas that we are under consideration right now for inclusion in our community patrol RFP that's going to be going out in the next few weeks, but also further addressing further concerns we have in terms of security with our communities, community. I'd just like to say that this month, we heard a lot from FPC, and I'd like to thank Steve Liebering, committee chairman, and his committee, and Jeannie as the liaison, for really doing an extraordinary amount of work and showing that our committees can be very, very active and successful and very timely. And I'm looking forward to that same kind of effort from the other committees as we move forward. We have an annual agenda, and we have items scheduled throughout the rest of the year. And so we plan to move along and deal with the goals that the board set for itself this year, along with continually trying to deal with the member comments that we receive. With that, I'd like to move on to our appeals. That's the last agenda item we have. Of course, we won't be taking a break. We are doing remarkably well on the time. It's only 7:18. That's great. But I'd like to move to the ACC appeals. And Cheryl, could you please introduce the appeal that we have before us tonight?
Yes, thank you very much. We have a Mr. John Kalmakoff who's appealing the ACC denial for, it's not actually a rear yard, it's actually for a rear yard enclosure. And I have to make a correction on the agenda. It says below the flood hazard plane. It's not below the flood hazard plane. It's actually a rear yard enclosure that we're doing for tonight. So the background on this is during the permitting process of Mr. Kalmakoff's home remodel, the committee determined that a second-story master suite enclosure is located within the rear yard setback by 2 feet. The rear yard setback for this property should be 30 feet from the rear property line for habitable space. Currently, the rear yard setback is 18 feet from the rear property line. The initial enclosure was approved in 1977. I'm not sure if whoever has control of the screen, can you please put it to exhibit number 1 so we can share along with what's going on? So like I stated, the initial enclosure was approved. That's one right there, was approved back in 1977. So the portion of the enclosure that we're talking about is highlighted in yellow. This actually was approved as is. Unfortunately, it's 2 feet into the rear yard setback. If we can go to exhibit number 2, it'll show you a picture of what it looks like. So before the wonderful work that Mr. Kalmakoff has been doing, he's really has upgraded his home quite a bit. This is what his home looked like. And then the next page is the diagram of what he was getting approved, which is the elevation drawings of the front and the backyard. So the very top portion of it is where the master suite is located. He's just revamping the outlook of it, as you'll see in the next picture. And then there's a storage room on the very lower half, which is below the 1397. But that's okay. We can have the storage unit there below the 1397. So what we're asking for the board to do tonight, actually the ACC committee is recommending that the board of directors approve the 2-foot encroachment according to the Davis Sterling section 4600 construction errors, no fault to the owner, along with the recorded variance for the life of the improvement. This enclosure was done before the purchase of Mr. Kalmakoff had actually purchased the home. So what we're actually doing is correcting a mistake that happened years ago in 1977 when it was approved and it should not have been approved. So the very next picture, I don't know if you can put it up there and then flip it. You can see the tremendous amount of work that Mr. Kalmakoff has put into his home. and has made it quite nice on the lake. It's one of the pretty houses on the lake now. So what we're asking right now is for the board of directors is to uphold the ACC committee's request and approve the second story enclosure located in the rear setback with a recorded variance for the life of the improvement. I'm not sure if Mr. Kalmakoff is actually on the Zoom.
He's here.
He is? Okay.
Yeah.
So if he would like to have a few, if you'd like to have a few moments to let him explain what his desire is, but the committee is recommending for board approval because the committee cannot approve this because it's a CCNR violation.
Before Mr. Komikoff speaks, this is John. I'd like to say a couple words. It was actually, if you look at the original plans for the house, it was approved as a storage area in that top floor, and it had 2 windows, as you can clearly see in that picture just went by. So you can have storage in the rear setback. The problem was that the original owner, and Mr. Komikoff is the second owner of the house, the original owner converted the storage area into a master bedroom. And he has pictures that he has provided to the committee that shows clearly that this area had been converted. When he rebuilt the house and put a new roof on top, he just assumed that this was all approved. So no fault of his own. The previous owner is the one that did the work. As far as, so we're only looking at the upper enclosure. The bottom enclosure was a storage area in the beginning, and it still is a storage area. Mr. Komikoff was kind enough to allow the committee to come inside and see that it clearly is a storage area. So we're asking the board to approve this CCNR violation on the upper level. Thank you.
Mr. Komikoff, would you like to make any comments?
Well, thank you, Mr. President and board, and thank you, Cheryl, for your kind comments. I just wanted to say that I did purchase the home 8 years ago in 2012. Unfortunately, I had a lot of roof leaks. I had windows that were, I don't know, was it 44 years old? A lot of issues. When we did remodel, we did submit plans. If you go down to slide number 95, you can see, if you look at the top right there, you can see that chimney right there above the windows. That's the master bedroom fireplace. I found it a little comical that a storage, the way it was in, I guess at the POA, a storage would have a fireplace in it. Anyways, when I purchased it, it was all master bedroom upstairs and closet. So we did submit plans. We did get our certificate of occupancy from the city 10 months ago, and we started, moving back in and using the house. We've been delayed with the ACC approval because our plans are to completely do the backyard. And as John mentioned, or Cheryl mentioned, I did pay $3,000 for a survey and found out the property line wasn't the seawall, but the property line was in a few feet. So there's that encroachment. And John has explained that a variance and a hold harmless agreement will be needed. So the house is finished. We do plan to do front yards and backyard work. We just got approval for front yard, and it's nice. I mean, we're enjoying it. The whole reason we bought it is so we would see our family more and let them come enjoy time at the lake. So at this point, we are fully permitted. We are fully approved from the city. And it's my understanding, per the CCNRs, as John mentioned and Cheryl mentioned, that some type of variance is needed because, yeah, I can't move a house 2 feet.
12 feet, correction, 12 feet.
Oh, sorry, 12 feet, yeah. It actually goes on an angle, and the others, I think it's just the corner of that house. The other side is back further. Very good. That's all I have. If you have questions, I'd be happy to answer them. I appreciate your time.
Any comments or questions from the directors?
My only
I had
comment-
one question. Go ahead, Jeannie.
I walk by his house every day and I love it, so.
Thank you. Well, say hi when you come by if you see me.
So my question, John, is just help me understand. It says that the rear yard setback for the property should be 30 feet for habitable space. Now, I appreciate that the building was approved in 77, but
Yeah.
when they took the roof, I assume that the ACC approved removing the roof and rebuilding the whole top floor.
Yeah.
But how come the 30-foot setback wasn't an issue at that time?
I can speak for that in that it was approved for a 30-foot because you can have storage in a 30-foot rear setback, but it cannot be habitable. So what you're approving is Mr. Komikoff's request to make that a habitable space through no fault of his.
So you're showing us a drawing that it looks like the work is all completed. Has the work
That's
been completed?
correct. That's correct. Mr. Komikoff did not have the privilege of looking at the original plans like the committee did. So that's why we noticed a problem. The inspector was out at the property during part of the construction, and he noticed that the rear had been enclosed with additional windows, which we approved. That's when it became a problem. So we actually went over there, met with Mr. Komikoff, and he was nice enough to show us around, and we understood better exactly what happened after we put the original plan for the house from back in 77 with his new plan.
When was the second story rebuilt and the new roof put on?
Just recently. This is all new construction.
So the second story has been there since 1977. The master bedroom has been there.
If I can kind of like clear up a little thing, I think what the misunderstanding is that the ACC, we don't have any jurisdiction on the inside. I believe the original 1977 home was approved with that second story, as is what you're seeing right now on the picture, but it was considered storage at the time. Well, somewhere down the line, it was converted into a bedroom. And so that's what we're trying to correct, because that portion of it, which is in the rear setback, is habitable. And that's what the committee cannot approve. They can't approve it encroaching into the rear yard setback.
Okay, I understand that, Cheryl. That sounds good. I just have on page 185 at the bottom, it says ACC committee is recommending that the board of directors approve a 2-foot encroachment. Is that really a 12-foot encroachment?
Yes.
I didn't. Okay, so it's 12 feet. That's my mistake. I probably misread it and thought it was 2.
Well, it says 2, but I'm thinking maybe it should have been type 12. That was the source of my confusion.
Okay, my apologies.
John, you said it was 12?
Yes, it's 12. If you go down a little bit further for the committee recommendation, a little further.
It's the
so right there, in conclusion, it's currently is 18 feet actual rear setback, and it needed to be 30 on a waterfront lot.
Correct.
So it's a change of 12 feet, quite a significant amount.
Yeah, what's interesting about that is my curb is exactly the same as my neighbor's. My house is exactly in line on the front, and my rear house is in line on the rear. So it's strange that I would be off like that, considering all the houses are in line. They're all together.
I believe that the house next door, it's all deck. You have to go back and show the picture again. But I know that you're allowed to build into the setback with deck and open space. It's the enclosed space that you're not permitted to do.
The house, when you're looking at my house, the house to the left has a deck on the first floor and the second floor. If you look at the house on the right, it has a deck on it's the gray, you see the gray? It has,
Okay.
that's enclosed. That's the master bedroom there also.
I see.
When
Yeah,
they were in
okay.
escrow, they bought that house 6 months after me. When they were in escrow, the real estate agent went over to the POA and they gave them some type of clearance or variance, and they're in compliance. They're fine. They were granted some type of variance right away while they were in escrow.
I can't vouch for that. I don't, that may have been the city too.
Yeah, and also I can't understand and don't know without looking at the file what actually happened on that, but I do not remember this as being approved recently.
It was 8 years ago.
Oh, yeah, it may have been. I've been on the committee for over 8 years, so I can tell you, I just don't remember that house being approved. It
Okay.
becomes a real problem because building in the rear setback is a CC&R violation, and normally they are not approved by the board. So I
Okay,
don't
well,
know, but we'd have to look at the
a-
file, but I think it doesn't, I think we need to actually stay with just Mr. Komikoff's property and we'll let the staff take care of the problem maybe associated with the neighbor.
Well, as I recall, John, we always deal with these appeals and these one at a time. And
Yes,
whatever
sir.
anybody else gets to do or whatever anybody else has done doesn't have a whole lot of impact on what we need to decide. You've made a good argument about something that was approved in 77. You've cited a Davis Sterling Act that allows us to do this because of a construction error. So I'm willing to accept a motion from a director on how we should handle this appeal. Should we accept the recommendation or not? Approved staff recommendation?
Yes.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All
Thank you.
opposed? Okay,
Thank you,
motion
board.
carried.
Thank
You
you.
don't have to tear
Thank
your
you.
house up.
Thank you.
You know, and let it be known, if anybody's listening and has a similar problem, that we are working as hard as we can to try to accommodate the things that have happened in the past as we work so hard to align ourselves with our CC&R and enforce them every chance we get. So, but we do have room to make these kind of exceptions when historically this stuff has been done. Okay, I'd just like to say that our next meeting is on Tuesday, October 6th. It'll be a 6 o'clock regular session. Who knows if we'll be hybrid meeting with us at the Holiday Bay Room broadcasting, or if we're going to be online again. We'll wait and see how all that turns out. But until then, thank you very much. Appreciate all the folks that have stayed online and contributed with us. Appreciate all the work that's being done. Thank you and good night.
Thank you.
Night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.